Hi, this is Denise Matthew. I hope you're doing well. So, we're here to talk about the solar eclipse, the first eclipse of 2022, and it's going to be happening on April 30th, 2022. Right off the bat, there's a few things that are quite interesting about this solar eclipse. One is that it's happening in 10 degrees Taurus. Now, it's 10 degrees and 28 minutes, and that actually matters when we're talking about this particular solar eclipse because based on the lines of the gate 24 and also the gate 44, which are the prominent players in this particular solar eclipse, as we're approaching the solar eclipse, we have the sun in the gate 24 line 3 as well as the moon in the gate 24 line 3. But within 2 hours when the actual solar eclipse occurs, we have the sun moving into the line 4 as well as the moon moving into the line 4. And that's exactly where they're going to be having the solar eclipse. What this seems to say is that we have the mixing of the fourth line energy as well as the third line energy of both the gate 24 and also the gate 44. That really talks to this idea of moving from an intrapersonal or what we might call a self-focused perspective. And we move to the fourth line, which is more of a transpersonal expression of energy. Or in other words, we're looking at our relationships and how we factor into a relationship based on who we are, but also based on who we are within a relationship. So this does kind of bring those two energies together. So we've had this experimentation. We've discovered what we need to about ourself, our own process, and now we're going out into the world and we're experiencing relationships. This is also the energy of moving from experimentation, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, into building a strong foundation, networking with other people, and having this group of individuals that are your support group, you could say. Another interesting perspective of this is that we do have Jupiter and also Venus, and they're going to be connecting or conjuncting in the gate 36 line 6. This seems to be a connection that we're having between this particular new moon and the full moon that happened on March 18th. Back then we had the sun in the 36 line 6, which is exactly where Jupiter and Venus are conjuncting. And this is really talking to this idea of something was happening back then, and now we're getting a full picture, you could say, of what had started back then that needed to change. There was something potentially in your life that you felt that you needed to change. And potentially there might have been a crisis that showed up in your life, something that forced you to look at your life in a different way. And now we're at the point where we have Venus and Jupiter saying, okay, we're here. We're helping you to move through this, because the whole point of the gate 36 is to get experience in our lives, to evolve in some way, because only through experience can we ever grow and be a better version of who we are. This says that experiences can be chaotic because we're going in as novices. We don't know what we're doing. And new experiences can also come with things that we may not like, and especially changes. So, for instance, you get a brand new job and it's your dream job, and yet you have to move away from your family and friends to take the job. So you do have that beautiful thing that you want to move toward, but yet you have to close a chapter of another part of your life. And this is where we're looking at this energy of decline and understanding that it is only part of the whole picture. Eventually, things always switch. Change is inevitable. Impermanence is part of everything we do as a human race. And when we flow with the energy of change, life shows us exactly the right path that's made for each one of us. And if we see that Jupiter and also Venus are in the gate 36 line 6, this is called justice. And the line from the I Ching says, the inevitable survival of the right, the knowledge and attendant faith that the powers of darkness eventually destroy themselves, the rule of cycles in which decline is a natural but not enduring stage. So we're coming to the end of a cycle of an experience that we've had. And now we're moving into looking at the next energy, because the sixth line is always looking at the next energy in the mandala. And here it is the energy of the gate 25, the love of spirit, or this energy of innocence, where we go into something in our lives with this ability to be open to what we receive, to not have any jaded perspective or any preconceived notions. This is a blank sheet of paper that we have an ability to write on. We could say that this is the love and empowerment of the spirit of the self. The questions you can ask yourself after the end of an experience: what did it mean to me? How did my soul grow from the experiences that may have been very rough at the moment, and yet I pushed through it and came to the other side, and now I have an experience that I will have for a lifetime. Everything that we learn in life, every time we fall and get up again, it shapes who we are. The experiences of your life, though painful, are important for your journey. If you live in a bubble of fear, afraid to color outside the lines, you may never experience the true thrill that can accompany new life experiences. There'll always be highs and lows, we know that. It's part of being human. But what is more important about your life is that you live it on purpose. The biggest gifts that we have in our lives are our memories and the stories of our experiences, because they shaped and molded who we were and who we are now and who we will become in the future. And even if we skin our knee in life, we'll never forget the moments when we're flying free, moving forward, ever getting closer to a better version of who we are. As I said before, we have the sun and the moon in the gate 24, and we also have the earth in the gate 44. So these are the energies that are going to be infusing this particular solar eclipse. Both the gate 24 and also the gate 44 are awareness gates. In other words, we're getting a bigger download of something that is important to further our lives, to move us forward into our futures. The gate 24 is mutative energy. This is talking about finding the words we want to use to rationalize the mutative or brand new ideas that have never been seen before. And as we know, if something is brand new, usually people are not going to buy into it unless we really prove that it's valuable. And that's where the gate 44 comes in. But the gate 44 is something that is old. It's called the new and improved. So what we're saying collectively is that we are actively deciding that there is a part of our lives or who we are that we want to improve, that we want to make better, that we want to infuse some new energy into. A few themes with the sun and the moon in the gate 24 is an emotional connection with being alone, being able to figure out our own thoughts, and having some peace and quiet while we decide what we want to do for our future. The other perspective is wanting to only see the good things in life, to shut out the bad things, to pretend that they don't exist. And although that's important to do when we feel overwhelmed by the world all around us, when it becomes a process of doing everything we can, because this energy talks about addiction and this idea that we are trying to check out of the world around us by something that we are addicted to. This could be anything from food to drugs to alcohol to anything that's in excess that we're actually doing so that we can avoid seeing anything but positive. But there's an important gift within this energy. If we are able to look outside of ourselves to see the world as it is, then we receive a gift, and that is clarity of seeing exactly how life is. And also, one of the biggest keys within this energy is to be able to pick out people who are not authentic, people who want to take something from you and want to use you in some way. This is where you can see the truth beyond the illusion. And when you do, then you can make your life decisions based on what you see as opposed to what you hope you will see. This could be in a relationship where you want a specific partner to be a certain way, and yet you might brush over the parts that are not as pretty and pretend that they don't exist or that they don't matter. This is where if you look, you can see beyond the illusion. You can see the truth. And when you see the truth, you can decide what you want to do, where you want to go in the future. The Earth in the gate 44 is telling us about this ability to detect when things are not right for us. This is a splenic gate, so we know that this is connected to some level of fear. The fear here is that you're not going to get those big dreams that you want for your life, that you're not going to get ahead in life, that if there was a problem in your life or something that you didn't hit the mark on, it will repeat over and again. This is about seeing patterns in life, but as much as you can see the patterns for things not working out, you can also look for patterns that are working out. Places in your life where things did go right. And what were the indications that said that you were on the right path? And those are your new guidance and your new touchstones to walking in a future that you want to have, a place that you feel you deserve, and a place that you've worked hard to become a part of. This also might be a time where if something didn't work out in the past, you have an opportunity to have a reboot or try again and see if it actually will work. Based on Bernadette Brady, who is the author of Predictive Astrology, The Eagle and the Lark, she's done a tremendous amount of work on Saros cycles and the cycles of eclipses and how they have connections. Based on her research, this really talks to this idea of having had enough of people telling us what to do, power to the people kind of energy, where we're pushing against the authorities who have potentially not been making the best decisions for the people that they're supposedly leading. She also does mention this idea of a personal illness or somebody having a unreliability, and this could be connected to world leaders or leaders who are making big decisions for a lot of people who are no longer considered reliable to actually come through with what they're telling the people that they're going to do. And now they are being potentially dethroned. If we add in Saturn in the gate 49, line 6, that's in detriment, attraction, we see that leaders are giving lip service to a revolution or making promises that they're just not coming through with. This is always related to something that we need to support ourselves or what we consider a mundane part of life. And that's all the things that we need to keep alive. It's food, it's shelter. And when those basic needs are not being met, then that's when we have this level of revolution or pushing against the powers that be. And that really does connect with what Bernadette Brady is saying about the Saros cycle and 6 North. So we could also look at this perspective of people starting to move away from the governmental forces and saying that we want to take care of ourselves and more of this sovereignty of the self, as opposed to always having this connection with these authorities who are supposed to be caring for people, but who have instead have become power hungry and no longer care about anything but gaining more and more power. And the final part of this solar eclipse is that we have Neptune, gate 36, line 3, and this is called transition, where the line says, the point at which decline has exhausted its power, or we reach some sort of a turning point where we are forced to change something that we need to change, that we've had a lot of fingers pointing at it, that says, okay, now is the time to move forward on this. With Neptune there's a good potential that you may not want to really look at it, because Neptune brings this sense of dreaminess and this sense of wanting to live in an illusion and not particularly live in the world around you. And this really goes back to the gate 24, this need to be away from anything that doesn't look beautiful or fun or exciting or something that you want to run toward. But we also have this message that says now more than ever is the time for you to move forward, to make that change that may be scary, may be difficult, but maybe the best thing you've ever done in your whole life. This energy is saying that it's probably the end of the road for something that you know needs to shift and change. And it's your choice on how you want to move forward into the future. Resisting change at all costs and feeling the pain as you go through it, or allowing the universe to flow with you, navigating the energy in a way that you feel empowered, maybe uncertain, maybe a little tentative about what the future may bring, but open and accepting of what the universe wants to give you. Well, that's all for now, and thank you for being here. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you again soon.